Trap number 2, choosing cabinets, appliances, and fixtures that deliver too little value. Generally speaking, cabinets are the most expensive part of a kitchen renovation. And that's fine because they last the longest too. But this doesn't mean they have to break the bank or your budget. There are 3 basic types of cabinet. Number 1, custom built on the job. These are often the most expensive and time-consuming. Number 2, custom manufactured. That is, built and pre-finished in a plant, but to your specifications. And number 3, mass-produced. The least expensive, but also the least flexible. Now here's the part many homeowners find confusing. Despite their range in prices, every one of these cabinets has the very same basic components: a shell or carcass, a door, plus hardware such as hinges and drawer pulls. So your big challenge when you go comparison shopping is to make sure you're comparing apples with apples. What are the carcasses made out of? Solid wood? Wood veneer? Melamine? Each has its own merits. Solid wood is more durable, but veneers and melamine are more affordable. A good contractor can offer you more specific guidelines. The cost of the doors works the same way. If they're wood, what kind of wood? Pine, oak, cherry, maple? In this part of the world, pine is the least expensive, but it's also the softest and easiest to dent. And of course, doors that are more elaborate will cost more no matter what they're made of. Make sure your contractor helps you take this into account as well. Then get down on your hands and knees and look inside the carcasses to see how they're constructed. A better built cabinet will cost more, but will also stand up over time. You won't run into drawers that stick, or shelves that sag, or joints that fall apart. Even the way the cabinets are finished makes a difference. More coats and more finishing steps pay off in cabinets that are more moisture resistant and less prone to chipping. And finally, while you're comparison shopping, ask about what kind of storage aids are available and how they affect pricing. A good cabinet is more than a box with a nice-looking door. Are the shelves adjustable? What about built-in spice racks, lazy Susans, recycling centers? These add to the final cost, but also add to a kitchen's overall efficiency.
If you're like most people, by this point you may be starting to feel just a little overwhelmed by all the choice. But getting it right the first time, not cutting corners when it comes to finding the best combination of materials, workmanship, and price will pay off. Sam knows this better than anyone.
Whenever I think about choosing kitchen features like cabinetry, I'm reminded of one of my very favorite clients, Mrs. Goldman. She lived in a comfortable bungalow that backed onto a wonderful ravine lot, very saleable. But Mrs. Goldman had no intention of selling. Like many of our clients, Mrs. Goldman planned to live right there for the rest of her life. The surprising thing was when she came into our showroom, she knew exactly what she wanted, right down to the kind of wood, the quality of shelving, and the style of countertop that will complement them. As I recall, she wanted a light finish on the doors to accent the color and grain of the wood, and thick shelving because she really liked to load down her cupboards. But here's the part I found odd. When I asked her about the dimensions of her present kitchen, she was quite vague. Oh, about 8 by 10, she said, more or less. But that wasn't important to her because a guy at the local lumberyard had advised her to go with a line of stock cabinets that only measure roughly 7 by 9. He said the remaining gaps would be concealed with filler strips. In our trade, this is called a cookie cutter approach. It means taking valuable footage, which is too scarce in any kitchen, and changing it into unutilized dead space. The cabinets themselves may be of decent quality, but the people who sell them are not concerned about how they'll fit in your kitchen. They're concerned about how they'll look on their sales floor. And let me tell you, those are 2 very different environments. To make a long story short, Mrs. Goldman was lucky she hadn't put any money down yet. For about the same as she would have spent on cabinets and installation, which was an added cost the lumberyard never mentioned, we were able to get cabinets that fit her space perfectly and with no wasteful gaps. Incidentally, Mrs. Goldman did eventually move. Oh, and that kitchen, along with a priceless view of the ravine, were the selling features that made her home a must-have for the new buyers. She told me herself the renovation played a major role in the selling of her house faster and for more money than her neighbors.
Designing a kitchen right, one that works and one that sells, is a game of inches. When it comes to cabinets, there's no room for error. So one of your first jobs is to measure the space accurately and map out exactly what should go where. The same holds true for new appliances. Ranges and ovens, it's important for these to fit seamlessly, or at least look that way. Microwaves. Are you willing to sacrifice countertop space? Or would you rather go to a wall-mounted installation? Fridges. If you choose a 2 or 3 door model, you'll need plenty of room to accommodate all those swinging doors.
And here are some more tricks of the trade when it comes time to choose your plumbing fixtures. The polished brass look is big these days. New technology makes brass faucets as tough as chrome and very attractive. Another popular choice is white faucets. Durable finishes now make it easy to keep white taps and spouts sparkling clean. And speaking of spouts, try to get an arched spout that's at least 9 inches long. This will give you the reach you need for filling large pots and buckets. And like cabinets, modern sinks often feature a range of accessories, from everything to sprayers to soap dispensers. Here again, be sure you know all your options before making any final decisions.
We've covered a lot of ground on this presentation already, but there are at least 2 more tricks and traps we think you should be aware of. Trap number 3 is hiring an inexperienced contractor who puts your whole investment at risk.